remember him.
Yeah, I definitely remember him, chap. If you guys been keeping up with the regional scene out in China, this guy, I believe, not only one-time top 16, it was two-time top 16. So as we had the little sneaky suspicion, it had to be a Draven. Those are the more likely legends that are going undefeated so far in the entire day one event. And oh, he switched it up a little bit. It looks like it's a Lee Sin to conclude the final round. This is cool. I
What
heard good things
is
about a
he
Lee Sin versus Draven matchup.
looking? That's crazy. Is he undefeated? Like, does he know something that we don't? Because he's got the metal card already. What's happening? How did he get so far with Lee Sin?
I mean, to be fair, he is a really strong player, right? And sometimes skill outweighs the deck. But just like we saw the likes of Jack's top 8 in Vegas, these color combinations, they have some great tools at their disposal. Things like Charm, things like Challenge. And then when you add things like, I believe they play, I think things like Elder Monk, when you have a buff, you get an additional one. So it gets really tall really fast. And I'm trying to think of other cards that can make really good use of in a Lee Sin deck. I guess it would just be that legend we're seeing here. Or is that the one that gives +2 to your buff units? I think it is, right?
Yeah. It's this exact one. Guys, who are we rooting for? Joke, if you're rooting for Draven, you're out.
Right, it seems like an obvious picture, but honestly, guys, no shame, no shame. If you're rooting for Draven, let us know and be proud of it, because a Draven fan is a Draven fan. There's definitely some of you guys in chat, and don't shy away from it. But I will have to say I am slightly favored towards Lee Sin. Nothing better than seeing a Lee Sin take down a Draven, but it's definitely a tough, tall task to do so. But if there's anyone that could do it, it will be a previous top 8 competitor. I don't remember exactly his name because they tend to be a little bit more of the Chinese characters, but we definitely remember his face, and that we can't forget.
Yeah, it's the Zen guy always going into meditation before the game. That's why he's playing Lee Sin.
Wait, didn't he make it all the way to the semifinals? I might have to check our VODs. I remember him. He might have been all the way number 2. He might have been the first Fiora to debut that strategy and make it to the grand finals. I'm pretty sure it was him. Chat, correct me if I'm wrong. I might have to look back at our VODs like I said, but I was saying top 16, top 8. This might be a second place competitor in these regional circuit.
Yeah, if it's the Fiora Beteduc, she won second.
It was definitely him, man. Now it's kind of coming back to me. I'm pretty sure it was a Draven versus a baited hook Fiora in the finals. But here we go, the final round of the day. Targon's Peak for Draven, Sunken Temple for Lee Sin, and things are starting off on the Draven side. Does he have something like a nice little treasure hunter? That he does. It's a foil one. We could kind of not make it out because of the little lighting there.
Yeah, if it wasn't for that one, I would never have been able to tell it was a treasure hunter. Okay, so that 3 might unit, you're happy with that, even if you're losing that first mate ability. Is it going to be instant Draven developed?
Yeah, it doesn't feel the best to go ahead and play out something like a first mate, but at the minimum, that is a 3 might unit to take down that treasure hunter. But since there's no Reaver's Row, I'm wondering if Draven wants to go ahead and leave that treasure hunter exposed. Do you go ahead and try to invest something like a fight or flight? And Leroy, he is tired. He says, boy, I've been competing for about 11 hours straight. Let me try to regain some kind of composure, because right now, my mind might not be tinkering at the same level it was tinkering earlier in these couple rounds. But yes, we get full confirmation. They are both undefeated. 6-0 for Draven, 6-0 for Lee Sin. So this is a very impressive Lee Sin. I'm wondering, does he have things we've never seen before? A challenge is a great card. How does he get over the Draven is the question, though. Right now, he could do something like a Guardian Angel into challenge, but that kind of trades the Guardian. Oh, this makes much more sense. Discipline,
Yeah,
bring it up to 5, and then we all know what's
and
coming
getting the
after
draw
that.
from the second temple.
A double whammy, right? This is a win-win-win. You get the win for the Conqueror, a win for the draw in the Sunken Temple if you choose to do so, and then a win from the challenge to take down the back line. This is pretty much an ideal, optimal opening / couple turns that as good as it gets for Lee Sin, if you ask me.
Yeah, it's not going to pick up the draw. I didn't see which card he has that he was saving. That's a... Oh, okay, that's why. Yeah,
Makes
makes sense.
sense.
I forgot about that part. That's a really good turn, honestly.
Very good turn. As we said, a bit of a win-win, taking out the Conqueror, taking out the unit, taking out both units, one in the base, one in the battlefield. And now Draven's going to have a decently hard time of kind of accelerating his way over to Sunken Temple and removing that first mate. Because with the Lee Sin buff, you're defending for 4. The only accelerated units you can do from this position would be something like an accelerated Kai'Sa, but he has a Ferris Forerunner, so Lee Sin should be able to hold up to 2 points. And I don't know if you have anything to kind of really kind of speed things up to 3, but at the bare minimum, you should be able to go ahead nice and safely retreat that first mate out of the range of giving those free combat victories for Draven. So let's see what other cards he has in hand, because a 6-0 Lee
Camel.
Sin feels great. And now are we seeing what we're seeing here on the screen, Leroy?
It's the camel.
Oh, yeah. Camel, aka the Rune Runner, making his first appearance here in the 7th final round of day number 1. And I know a lot of people were kind of counting out Rune Runner, saying, oh, he's a little bit too late game, 6 energy just for a 5 cost. But there's no other unit that does exactly what he does, I'm pretty sure. Is there another untargetable unit I can't think of?
No.
There's not,
there's
right?
not.
At least in set 2, and next set there will
yeah,
be.
there's on when he's got Svelzonger, which makes you recycle 4, which is almost like untargetable at this point, but no, there's no other untargetable, I think.
Yeah, and that alone makes them such a threat for each and every deck, specifically more so those spell-heavy reliant decks like Ezreal, like Kai'Sa's, but Draven does have a decently tough time because of those cards like Fight or Flight and Rebuke. You can't push back the Camel, you can't return to hand the Camel, so you have to raw force your way through the Camel. But of course, if there's one unit that can, of course, do something like that, it will be a Ferris Forerunner with 6 might versus the 5. So let's see what he decides to do with the remaining runes. Shuffle things up after the stacked deck. And he has a couple runes available. I wouldn't mind if he plays out another unit, at least to the base, to try to make sure you're able to conquer something like the Targon's Peak the following turn. And he looks to only have a Kai'Sa available, so doesn't go for accelerated speed to specifically leave up 2 runes. What can those 2 runes possibly be, right?
two axes in hand. Oh, I wonder what can they be.
Of course, this guy is a very experienced player. He should be able to play around something like that, but we'll see, of course.
Yeah, and he's got action in hand, so I think he wants to proc these axes pretty quickly and steal get the loot. It was at the Irelia Fervent.
I wouldn't doubt it. I mean, a +1 buff and then you choose her, so it's almost like a +2 buff for the turn.
Yeah.
I like it. I think Fervent could be good, specifically because you do have similar tools like the On Guard, like the Discipline we saw for the challenge play. So Fervent is just a fantastic comp card, so I could totally see Fervent working in Lee Sin. But here we go. He's trying to get over the Ferris Forerunner one way or the other. So most likely will attach the Doran's Blade onto the Camel. But that's only going to be bringing him up to... Oh, okay. So +3 is 8 to 9. You still need a little bit more might. If you buff things up with the Lee Sin, that's 9-9. The Guardian Angel should be saving the day after that. Does he buff with Lee Sin is the big question. I think it has to be the heads up play for him.
Yeah, but I think he wanted to keep enough to play action. He won't be able to, of course, but
I think he did the quick maps. He says a simple spinning axe will bring that Ferris Forerunner up to 9 might at the minimum in case it is something like that. Dreaded spinning axe. Let's try to at least tie with it. So he's thinking about it. Is there any kind of punish by pushing up this camel? What can he possibly have? He's decided there is not enough of a punishment to do this play. So I'm going to push up with 9. He's doing the math. He's saying, okay, how much exactly do you have?
yeah. And if his opponent chooses to trade with spinning axe, then he's losing the axe due to the temporary of the gear.
Exactly right. So is it a worthy investment? You only have 2 runes available. Did he do the math, or are we the ones missing something? Because I swear it was 9-9. Camel's at 5, Guardian Angel 6, Doran's Blade 8, plus the buff is 9. 9-9. And as you said, he loses the spinning axe to do so. Lee Sin could even go ahead and throw out something like a little combat trick. 9-9. He's okay with the trade. He's saying, I get 2 mechs in the back line. But more importantly, I think this is exactly what Lee Sin wanted from Draven. He wanted him to expend something like a spinning axe. He wanted to take down the Forerunner either way. So not too bad because of the GA saving the Rune Runner for down the road.
Yeah. I don't know exactly, because anyway, you don't have any other choice as Draven. You won't be able to trade that Rune Runner in a fair way. So it's hard to know. I think both players are okay with that play.
Right. I think it's something along the lines of saying, you know what, I lose my equipment, but so do you. So we're basically not only trading 1 for 1 on the units, not literally the units, but we are trading 1 for 1 on our equipments. My spinning axe for your Guardian Angel, I feel like that's a fair trade in my book. So let's go ahead and do that. So does have a Kaiser Survivor to go ahead and get an additional draw. The Targon's Peak will proc, so you're able to at the minimum bring back 2 runes if you tap out completely this turn. He draws a Darius. I think that is the alt art Darius.
I can't see anything. I'm going to trust you on this one.
It looks to be the case, but you're totally right. Not a lot of Dravens running the brother Darius these days, but he is undefeated, so maybe people should go back to running Darius because he was such a powerful card in Kaiser and Annie. What happened to Darius, right? I feel like he kind of fell off a cliff in Spiritforged.
Yeah, I think he got too slow for this super fast pace meta where you can play 6 power for 0 with Raza and so on. Yeah. Also, more singularity maybe than before being run.
For a moment there, Kaiser was going crazy.
It can shift really quickly.
Does go ahead and bring out that Tide Turner to keep that Kaiser nice and safe. Back to basic goes. Most likely will be leaving the 2. Actually, he has way more than 2 runes, so makes full use of it. Goes to 5. Again, he does have something like a Targon's Peak to go ahead and ready 2 runes at the end of it. But Darius Inner's readied. But I don't think he's going to be pushing forward as you already conquered 2 battlefields this turn. You're up to 4 points. You are ahead of Lee Sin. Despite Lee Sin feeling decent in this position, he has to force himself to hold. And to hold against the likes of Draven is not an easy feat whatsoever. He's going to take a really mountainous task, or he's going to be a mountainous task. Something along the lines of a punch first. Maybe a charm, get one of these threats off the board before they come swinging your way with spinning axes. So it's tricky. I mean, of course, he has enough runes now to play a spinning axe on the defensive course. So tricky position Lee Sin finds himself in. But I'm willing to bet this is definitely not the first Draven he has faced off against this entire day. And he's beaten every single Draven today. Can he take down another one is the question he must answer.
Yeah. I really think you don't want to use your final center right now, because right next turn, if your opponent get just 1 point, it's going to cost 2 less mana, which would change a lot. Oh, was that a GA?
Yeah, or the GA's cousin, Azonia's Hourglass, looking to be the set 1 GA. So you do have some kind of world of keeping your Rune Runner nice and safe, but of course it's not a chosen ability. It depends on your opponent who he wants to decide to kill first. Sends in the first mate over to take down the Tide Turner, trying to tie things up 4-4. But because he's slightly behind, he's the one kind of catching up from behind. He has to do some kind of move here to take the upper hand. Most likely a whole turn. Can he hold with at least one of these units? You hold to 5 while your opponent's conquering to 5. And that could be a bit of a wiggle room to kind of get back in this game. He's tapping 1. I think, as you said... Oh, he's tapping way more than 1. That's a fervent hitting the board.
You know, he just had 2 on the side for the battlefield. Going to hide the Zonia.
Oh, I love the hidden Zonias, right? Because if the first mate go down, you just don't reveal the Zonias until you need to for that Rune Runner. So this is a really great play. Sometimes you just get a little turnover and saying, oh, I could just play the Zonia's Hourglass, but this makes such more you get way more value out of it, because there's one unit that's way more valuable than the other, and that is the Rune Runner, of course. So passes it back over. Let's see what Draven has to say this turn, because look at how many runes he has available. That's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 total runes for this turn. He could pretty much do mostly everything he would want to get done. If he has another Darius in hand, that could be a good thing. But with the Zonia's Hourglass, you're not going to really effectively be able to take down the Rune Runner. So I think you still want to get to 6 if possible, right? Because you get to 6, and if you get it double conquer one more time, which Draven with some more spinning axes have a bit of an easier time doing so, you'll be able to close out that first nice little game number 1 of this final round today. And we're looking at the hand. I think I'm seeing a double edge knight, a spinning axe of against all odds, a rebuke, and one little hidden card all the way in the back that we can't make out just yet.
Yeah. And I don't think right now the Lee Sin player has given any card to draw to Draven in a lost combat. But I think right now, yeah, Draven is going to get their first draw.
Yeah, you're so right. He hasn't got any combat wins this game, so being very careful and very diligent in not providing those free combat wins for Draven. So now it is time. You had to put points on the board. Darius swinging in that direction, and swinging before playing 2 cards, mind you. Or did he play something? He played the fan, so this next card will be card number 2 in case there is something like the big punch first coming down. So he's saying, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and let it go. Targon's Peak should target or should trigger effectively. And I like how they're making these players make super apparent or make it super obvious that the Targon's Peak trigger, right? Because I've heard it both ways. Some people, I believe when I was out in Houston, said you have to make sure your opponent knows which runes you put or which runes you choose to ready at the end of the turn before it gets anywhere close to your end of your turn. How have you heard the ruling for Targon's Peak?
I think it was like that, and then there was an errata.
Okay.
And now it's just you you have to call the trigger or something like that, and it's not as like explicit as before. That is required. I'm not sure exactly, but I heard there was an errata, and now it's like it's
Okay.
more
More
lenient would
lenient.
be the word.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I gotcha. And just like the Roam Runner has a hidden card, so does Draven now. And one of these opponents, a lot of games we've been catching here in the tail end of today's event has been going down to the hold versus hold strategy. Of course, you still have some good units in the backline, like a Survivor, like a Fan, like a Mech. If you do need to use them to go ahead and try to push for game rather. But 5-5 as he throws it back over. What can the Lee Sin do? One thing we always have to keep in mind is the Chosen Champion, right? So Chosen Champion does have the potential to come in at accelerated speed, but you have to think, how are we taking down 7 plus 4? That's 11 total might, not even taking into account the Edge of Night most likely hiding. So goes for what the play you said earlier, goes for the find your center for 1. So channel 1, draw 1 never feels bad for a single energy.
Oh, that's good. That's a good pick. Now I think right now you're really happy to get infos on your opponent hand.
Yeah, I think right now is like the most crucial moment to get full insight on what is hiding behind, what is exactly the game plan going forward for him to close
Oh, he's
things
gonna
out.
pay. Oh, he's gonna pay. He's gonna play the X. If he plays the X, you're so happy because you got action right in the back, and you took everything from your opponent. You took his wife, you took his kids, you took his house.
Exactly right. I love what you're saying. The spinning axe does come in at reaction speed, but Action looking like that spinning axe is a juicy meal and looks at the thing. So against all odds, Lee Sin isn't really a deck that has a go wide strategy to make really good use, or I should say the other way around, where you get so much value from against the odds. I'm looking at that Rebuke for the Aurelia, because of course Rebuke can't target the Camel, but that's kind of already in the past, right? Camel is just going to be holding it down on Sunken Temple. You're looking at the Rebuke for the backline units, and that is the obvious answer. So puts back the Edge of Night, puts back the Against All Odds. So that's +2 might. That's something to be considered of while you're doing your push. So Fervent, Action removes the Axe, so that's 7. He played Axe, so Draven on the Darius on the Against All Odds goes up to 7, 11, and then just goes up to 13 total might.
Yeah, but he's going to have to slow down because he cannot conquer right now.
Yeah, we haven't really caught glimpse at the hand for Lee Sin. If he has enough combat tricks, you can get over 13. 13 is nothing too crazy for an Aurelia Fervent. We just don't know what he has, because to me, it almost seems like he just has 2 cards in hand. Actually, we can look at the UI. He does just have 2 cards in hand. So plays out a GA. Most likely will attach it to the Aurelia. And let's do a little bit of quick math. So a GA attach goes up to 2. Lee Sin buff goes up 3. Choose goes up 4. So that's 8 total might. You send in, you could take down a Darius, but Edge of Night actually puts that up to 9. You can't even kill the Darius. Is this just a pass? This is a tricky turn. Despite you having a good turn with the Sabotage, despite having a good action, you still can't conquer that Targon's Peak away from your opponent.
But you're not in range of being... Yeah, I mean, your opponent is only will only be at 6.7 if he conquers. But you're still in a decent spot.
Oh, and chat, let us know they saw a punch first in hand. If that's the case, guys, then there's a world. Punch first, but first things first, the Lee Sin buff plus the choose. So that's +3 on Aurelia. So right now, we'll be swinging in for 7. Recycles 1. GA adds 2 effectively. So going up to 9 total might. So just like that, Aurelia is able to climb her way up, and 9 plus 6 effectively punch with the punch first. That's 15 total might. And what do we say? That was 7, 9, 4, so 13 of 15. That is a conquer for Aurelia, and even has the safety net of a GA on the defense. Is this the pivotal turn where Lee Sin gets it back in towards his momentum? It almost seems to be the case.
Yeah, I think if he gets it, he actually took everything. I was talking about Wi-Fi kids, but he took even worse. He took the fried chicken at this point. You know what I'm saying?
That's right. And oh, chat's reminding us we were adding the might for the against the odds at first. So if we said 13, that's gonna be 15 to 15, and I'm taking that trade because of the GA. It doesn't feel the best, but you're getting some resources out of the hand of your opponent. You're
and
getting
you
two
can actually
good
use
units as well.
If you don't want to use the GA, you can actually use the hourglass that is still there. I think you would rather keep the hourglass for the camel, maybe. I don't know. It's a tough one.
I
Let's
like
see.
the hourglass too.
Okay, it's choosing to not use the punch first, which I respect totally. It's an okay trade. You reveal the card. You did your thing.
Interesting. I was not expecting not investing the punch first. What this kind of signals to me is he wants to go ahead and prioritize a bit more of a surprise punch first. Or unless chat missaw. You know, chat's always right, of course, so I will give him the benefit of the doubt. He probably does have a punch first. But what I was getting more so at is you want to go ahead and protect the Rune Runner with the punch first, because a 10 might, or even more than that, because that's a Rune Runner at 6. And then what is the item under the Rune Runner? Was it a Doran's Blade? There's an equipment there.
Yeah, it is a Doran's Blade.
Okay, so he's defending for
Rune Runner
8.
is at 8. Yeah, Rune Runner is at 8 because he was at 9 with the GA.
Makes sense.
So he's obviously at 8. Let's see. And Punch Fast is really good on the Rune Runner because it cannot get removed through fight or flight or any shenanigans.
Very smart play for Draven, realizing what point total he's currently at. That is 6 total points. So goes ahead and plays a whole lot more patiently, saying all I have to do is a double conquer turn and I will run away with this in this game number 1. But to be fair, you don't have the most might in the world, but something you could do that's very cheeky with these Edges of Night, you could kind of send your units one by one. If there's some kind of presence on a battlefield that's more than one unit, you could kind of get more value than just a one-time +2/+4 with 2 Edges of Night. But in the case that there's just one unit a piece, that's not going to be exactly playing out the same way as we've seen in the past with equipments. So with just 2 cards in hand, can this Lee Sin just hold and fend off the Draven? Because we're talking about fending off a Draven, and Leroy, I'm not loving what I'm seeing. It's strong, but I don't think it's strong enough, funny enough.
I don't know, because just a punch first on Camel. Yeah, I think we both did. me and you plus.
Right. The Lee Sin chosen champion was hiding around the whole time, and that's a +2, maybe even. Actually, I think Lee Sin reads every other unit, so you don't get an extra +2 on yourself, but the Rune Runner just got a nice little +2 buff on the defense as well.
Yeah.
So I think you could hold as top of the action if you want to risk the action giving back the spinning axe. No, I don't think you can risk it.
No. You I think you stay in base with action, and you can have something to conquer next turn, maybe if there is some full trade. Yeah, I think action stays in base.
You know, you do also have that Zonias to protect them in the circumstance that the action goes down, but decides to pass. These are the moments of truth, the very final moments of this game number 1, about halfway through the time limit. To be fair, these have been some quite intricate turns. You could tell exactly why these players have managed to go completely undefeated in the entire day 1 of Swiss. Can one of these players, or actually, of course, one of these players will continue undefeated? The question stands, which one of these players will be undefeated, of course. So trying to do the quick math, we'll try to join them on that math. So you have 4, 2, that's 6, plus the 4 is 10, plus the 3 is 13, and not counting the edges of the night, that brings it up to 15, 17 total collective might on this push. How does he decide to play it is what he has to think about. How does he want to sequence things out? Can he keep in mind what's the hidden card? I mean, it's a body comm deck. Besides something like an hourglass, what are some other hidden options that come to mind?
Right now, I don't know.
Yeah, me neither, honestly. I'm thinking it'll come to us, and oh, the not so fast coming down, negating that fight or flight, and that's saving a whole lot of might on that battlefield. So much so that could have been a game saving not so fast. But we did do the math. 17 seems a bit too tall. But with that said, you have to conquer both battlefields. If you send enough might to take down the Ruin Runner, you might not have enough might for the punch for Aurelia.
I'm seeing is it right the win against the odds? I think I saw in Draven's hand. I'm not sure.
There's definitely against the odds because he had it when there was a sabotage that went down.
Yeah, that we know 100%.
Here's the math. Sometimes the math gets a little bit too crazy. You have to math it out on pen and paper. I could totally respect this. Have you personally done this before, Leroy, where you do the math on paper? Because I'm more of a fingers guy. As weird as that sounds, I just count the maths on my hands.
No, I do it in my head.
Okay, true.
But I can understand. I think once it was on the CGA, so I used something else. I needed to take notes, but usually I'm okay doing it in my head.
The funniest thing I've seen is in a Aurora Master Yi mirror match. It was some crazy might totals. These guys had to bring out the calculators. Both opponents agreed the calculators were okay, so they brought out their phones and just doing the maths on a calculator. That, I think they were getting somewhere in the neighborhood of like 40 plus might on both sides. So that's when it gets real complicated for sure.
Yeah, that's a lot of damage.
Hey, no, I haven't really thought about exactly what sequence of cards you can do. This is round 7. We thought about Riftbound one too many times this game, but I'll go ahead and try to break it down for us. So it does attach an Edge and Knight. So he wants to try to take care of the Lee Sin first, making that Ruin Runner a whole lot easier, but sending in the Aurelia, trying to bait out the very last card in hand, because once your opponent has no cards available, then you know how to approach the turn. 1 card versus the 3. If you punch first here, Aurelia goes to 10, actually 11 total might. That's 11 on one battlefield. That was 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, plus the Lee Sin is at 6, plus the 1. So 17 and 11. I think Lee Sin just wins from the hold.
Yeah, I think he wins. Right now I don't see Draven making it, but let's see, maybe I'm wrong.
No, I think you're right, because I don't think you have enough units to take down both battlefields. I mean, if I'm Draven, it's tough because you do have to see the bigger picture, but we're getting a little bit low on time. We're roughly halfway through, and this is still not concluding the game number 1. Like, it's still game 1. It's been a heck of a game nonetheless, but you want to try to wrap it up rather soon because you have potentially 2 more games, especially if it doesn't go your way. So he's trying to do the math. He's saying, I have an against all odds. I can't even see the rest. I have a ride the win. And then it looks like that last card is a energy plus a power. I can't really think of what that it's not a spinning axe.
Darius.
It has to be, right? Darius has to be. So that is, he's taking into account. I see why he's thinking so heavily because that's a Darius adding 7 total might at ready speed, right? And Lee Sin's not having none of it. He's saying, do what you do. I'm going to take this opportunity while you play out to kind of rest my mental for a little bit.
You know, he's you seen Star Wars?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's Qui-Gon Jinn facing Darth Maul, and it's like
just cool, calm, and collected here in these final rounds of day number 1. And on the other side, this Draven looks stressed. He's trying to put the pieces together. He's saying, how am I solving this puzzle that Lee Sin has displayed in front of me? I do not envy him. This is not a position I want to try to crack the code, but you have to do it. What you have to do, of course. So Shenzhen double edge a knight, a overzealous fan. Procs to Zonias just to save the Aurelia, but a ride the win. Darius doesn't get there, or does it? 7, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. How much? We said 17 on the right on the Sunken Temple, so that's 15 to 17. I think that's GG. Darius and a ride the win to bring that unit into that Sunken Temple doesn't do it.
Yeah, it was like, I think the only way was like, is my opponent going to make a mistake and kill my unit with the gear? Oh wait, there's a rebuke.
Interesting. Okay, I think we might be cooking.
Wait.
We said 17 might. Oh, he might double conquer. Does he have the runes to do so? That's 2, 4, 6, 7. 5 and 2 is exactly the rune combination he needs. A rebuke on the thing, and that's the first spell. Darius comes down as wait, he can't play Darius.
Yeah, he can't play the Darius, but he can play the ride the win. He needed the rebuke.
And against the odds, okay,
crazy.
the other line. So against the odds, that is a double conquer. He found the line.
Legend. I'm sorry. He played well. He played his outs and he played well. It's too strong. It's too strong to draw whenever you win a combat. I'm sorry, guys, but
unbelievable turns of events. We thought it was all but over, but
now we don't see it because we knew the hands. But if he can kill the action, then if he can get back his axe, it's over. Anyway, because he's got too much might to send every time.
Yeah, I believe the logic you're saying is exactly what he had in mind. So they make sense, right? Of course, he couldn't think about the exact card combinations that Draven pulled out that game. And I mean, could have perhaps thought about something like a rebuke, but
or maybe
he just sabotaged recently.
I don't know. Yeah, it's maybe if you keep the punch for the action, that it's even harder to remove everything and it's really hard to remove the action. I don't know. It's a tough one, guys.
Super tough one. I'm wondering though, let the Aurelia go without
Zonias would have
protected
protected the axe
first.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, maybe with the Zonia on the axe. Maybe you guys are right. And he just piloted like default mode on the I need to save the axe. Maybe he also wanted to keep a unit in base just in case there was a full trade.
True. Very unlikely, but just had to play towards all his outs. And just like someone in chat saying, sometimes it just is what it is, right? You just draw exactly what you need in that situation. But we are finding ourselves in that game number 2 of the final round for day number 1. That is round 7. A little bit different from that season 1 Origins National Open. If Leroy, you remember we were casting it ever so long ago, it was 8 rounds. I'm happy with this change. 7 rounds have already been a good long day already.
Yeah. Shanghai was crazy.
Yeah, it was crazy fun, but it was crazy nonetheless for sure. And just like that, every single time you go ahead and start all as a power while you're starting second, that is a development of Draven Vanquisher as early as you can. But kind of on the other side, that is a very early Aurelia as well. And I think Aurelia kind of edges out that Draven because she is just a crazy good unit.
Yeah, and the fact that she can get +2 with the Lee Sin, that's a good tech that I don't think not a lot of people thought about. You get 3 on guard basically.
That's a really good point. Lee Sin in himself, just like the legend ability for Aurelia gets some good value from Fervent, Lee Sin almost like directly gets some might increase value. So yeah, another way of having some on guard, some more disciplines. Because sometimes as Aurelia, you could have some good combat tricks as you often have, but you tend to run out / don't see them when you need them. I think Lee Sin is just like a guaranteed way of making sure Aurelia Fervent gets value on every single combat you do. So ride the win so you double conquer. He is off to the races, bringing it back to keep him out of the range of the Fervent. He needs to go ahead and hit something like a charm because this is a tapped out Draven trying to capitalize on this. If he has a charm, I feel like it should be a good moment to make full use of this. Let's see what he has in hand though, because I don't think I've seen a charm so far.
No, but I've seen a challenge, I think.
Okay. Pretty much works the exact same thing we said before. Those body, those comm decks, they have access to those baseline interaction, those challenges, those charms. Either or will get the job done because there is not a 1 cost spell that Draven currently could use. So challenge and the Dreaming Tree trigger, it couldn't have lined up any bit better. That's an extra draw and taking down the big bad wolf of this game. So Draven hit the bin and you're really strong position from here if you leave a couple runes open.
Yeah, let's see. I'm curious. I know that he can retreat his Aurelia. I don't know if he will choose to do so. I feel like it's a really safe play right now.
Are you saying with something like a first mate to bring it back?
Yeah,
Or?
yeah, I think I saw a first mate in hand.
Okay.
I think I would like that play.
I think so as well, just to kind of play it extra safe against Draven. So the first mate does get played out. Aurelia does enter, adds the, very, adds the extra +1 just to get in the habit of never forgetting a trigger for Fervent. That is a sign of a really good experienced player, even though it doesn't make any bit of a difference.
That's a +2 from first mate, right?
First mate choosing +1 ready. You're so right. I actually haven't seen that interaction because we don't get to see body and a Fervent together too often.
Oh, and the Navari Scout and the
Janna.
Oh, the Janna.
That's cheeky. We didn't see any of those cards in that opening game. A Navari Scout, I feel like it is okay, but I guess it's almost like a no power Kiana. You don't get the ability, but you do get the deflect of it for being for 4. And Navari Scout does get that buff go up to 5, so I like it. It's a way of being conservative on your runes while at the same time playing out something with deflect. So not the best, not the worst. I feel like it's like a mid-value type card. But the Janna could catch your opponent completely by surprise. Similar how we saw the Rengar come down a couple rounds ago. But even has a pushback ability as well as a heal. if you find the perfect opportunity to use so, but most people use it just for the little pushback like a fight or flight.
Yeah.
And it looks like we won't be seeing the Janna in this game number 2. I was excited to see if we would actually be able to
Yeah,
use
but I
that
was
card.
thinking that might be a really good card to send back to the trash, but let's see. The Garelia is still really scary right now, applying a lot of pressure.
Definitely. So much pressure that he doesn't even want to push up with that Noxus Hopeful. Passes it back, and I think Lee Sin will continue on developing the board state game plan. And I saw a nice little card that we don't get to see too often in any deck. I might have to go digging through the card gallery to remember exactly what this card is called. I'll see it when he plays it out, but I think it's the gear that you can use a buff, pay a power to make your unit, a unit you play down, ready. Do you know what I'm talking about, Leroy? I'll try to find it in the meantime.
Wallop?
No, it's not Wallop, it's a gear.
Oh.
It's from Origins.
I mean, there's the one from the red one with Legion, the Sun Disc, but
I'll find it. I'm scrolling down right now. Origins is so far down now that Unleash has the release. I know chat might have said it already, but I'm trying to be a little stubborn and find it myself. Let me see if I can find it while we get back to this game.
Oh yeah, the
I've seen it in
Mistfall.
the likes of like Set before. Oh, I'm
Mistfall.
getting.
It's Mistfall.
Yeah, chat said it. Mistfall. Mistfall is exactly
Yeah.
what I saw in hand. When you buff a friendly unit, you may pay an energy, exhaust this, and then ready. That's exactly what I think Lee Sin has.
Oh
and
yeah,
it makes
yeah.
perfect sense with Lee Sin. Very synergistic. You're able to utilize the buff potential from the legend ability to kind of accelerate that units coming in. So I love it. Nice little Mistfall. But I think, wait, what happened to the Mistfall? I was finding the card and now I see it in the trash. How did he discard it?
There's another Mind Splitter.
Oh, I see. Mind Splitter number 2 coming down. So with a card I was getting super excited about, looks like we won't be seeing another good card in this game number 2. Mind Splitter seems to be an obvious sideboard addition because we didn't get to see any sideboards in that opening game. And now we're seeing 2 sideboards. At the minimum, I think he's citing in additional ones.
Yeah, but still has a good handle on the game overall. Aurelia right now is really scary. It feels bad to go on that battlefield. You cannot. He doesn't have access to rebuke right now because he's only on red runes. And yeah, if she gets on guard or like discipline, she can get up to really high number really quickly.
Even the card we saw in that game number 2 towards the end, something like a punch first to make it even bigger and bigger. You get the +1 from the Dreaming Tree. You get +6 on Aurelia. It's going to take a whole lot of unit investment to just overtake that unit. And he's a little bit frightful, right? He's saying, wait a minute, I just saw Aurelia get the punch first the previous game. Does he have it in hand? He has about 3 cards remaining. What is the likelihood? And he says, I want to make good use of all of these Fury runes I have, so let's go ahead and pay 2 of them to take down the Lee Sin in the back to try to force him out to play any little combat tricks. Lee Sin is currently at 6, so 1 buff will take him out of the range of Falling Star.
And he's taking his time. He's like, oh, but that gives less protection for my Aurelia. But maybe he's baiting because he's got plenty enough protection for Aurelia behind, and he's like, oh, if I do this, then you're thinking I don't have enough, and then you're gonna try to go for Aurelia when I clearly have enough. And I don't know, maybe that's some next level mind games.
Right, right. I think more so he's kind of prioritizing the safety of the champion, but I don't think he actually has enough now to protect the Fervent. If we look in hand, this is a big bluff. Literally no combat tricks, which is why we saw that slight hesitation. He forewent getting the double draw from the Dreaming Tree just to save the unit. That goes to show you how important that unit is. And the bluff was successfully where he's like, oh, I don't like this punch first. I don't like another on guard or something another like. So let's go to the other battlefield while I do maintain that point tempo lead, going up to 3 versus your hold up to 3. So little by little, it looks like Draven inching ahead of this Lee Sin, but there's a couple great units in the back line. If you buff up the first mate, the Lee Sin alone, of course, if you send everything in, we could do the quick maths. I think it actually might be enough with the Lee Sin Legend ability.
I think
6
so.
on the first mate.
18.
Novari, 5, 6, 7.
Oh, big camel.
I think this is most likely
You're not
a buff.
you're not in a hurry, I think. Because I think if you know the time, you're like, there's no way I'm finishing this game. We're not getting to third round. And so, like, I just need to secure this one and get my draw, and I'll be in a good spot.
That wouldn't be too bad. Of course, 8 minutes is technically enough to finish the remaining of this game, but I don't think is anywhere in the realm of getting close to finishing a game number 3. But if you guys don't know, you don't technically have to finish the game. All you have to do is lead over your opponent by 2 points and you will be successful. Just like what we saw the Sivir player against the Aurelia. Despite Aurelia having most likely won that best of 3 matchup, the Sivir managed to get up 1-2 points ahead and did get the W, of course. And playing a little bit different than I would have expected. Maybe a bit hesitant with that hitting card. Maybe the math, because in round 7, earlier rounds, I was doing all the math for you guys. Round 1, round 2, round 3. But in round number 7, I'll let these players do a little bit more of the math. So maybe the math wasn't there to overtake that battlefield.
Yeah, maybe you're scared, and also you've got so many more runes than your opponent up. So you're like, any turn that passes by, if I use them properly, I will develop more board presence. Also, right now the camel is not ready, and that changes a lot of things.
It does. The only hindrance for Lee Sin right now is the simple fact that he has very little hand economy, right? 2 runes versus Draven's 5, and in no real world, I mean, yes, you have Dreaming Tree, but he already made use of that discipline, so he has to get lucky and draw something like another discipline to try to refill a bit of that hand going forward, because right now it's a Defy and a Novari Scout. None of those are any bit close to something like a gas that he needs to keep pushing on in this game. And little by little, Draven's just getting 1-2 bit carried away on that Obelisk of Power. That's a Mind Splitter with an Edge of Night, a Raw Mind Splitter, another hidden card, which might just be that secondary
that's a switcheroo.
edge. A switcheroo, you
that's
think?
a switcheroo.
Wow.
I mean, he had one in hand, so switcheroo, if you don't have any not so fast, it's such a heavy blow.
It is. Especially, I mean, it can't target the Rune Runner, so it's a bit of a saving grace there. And he draws a great card that is a punch first for some kind of defensive protection, even on the offense against one of these things. But as you pointed out, a switcheroo could really spell doom for the Lee Sin player. I'm wondering, do you just send in the Rune Runner alone first, but you don't kill everything, so the hidden card stays? This is tricky. I feel like Draven is doing a good job of realizing the current position he was in and said, I will ignore the Aurelia. I'm just going to go on the full hold this opposite power game plan, and so far seems to be pretty well executed as of now. We'll see if it does come and kind of go out the window for the time being if Lee Sin finds a way of cracking this battlefield. And okay, a little rendezvous to Dreaming Tree, put back the units in the base. He might be setting up for a conquer the next turn, interesting enough.
Okay, choosing to not buff the camel.
I see
He's trying
the
to find the right
vision.
angle, but it's so hard.
Yeah, he's protecting with the camel, so you can't simply rebuke it off any battlefield. So I love that from Lee Sin. And now this next turn has to be the turn he goes on the offense. He says, I can't let you hold forever. You will be getting an 8 before me, so I have to be a bit more proactive about this. That is why you go ahead and bring the Aurelia back. And this gets a little crazy, right? Because every single buff unit, you could pretty much add 2 extra might because of your Lee Sin legend ability. But in the world where there is indeed a rebuke in hand, Lee Sin is rebukable unless you do have a not so fast in the last 2 remaining cards, because a rebuke would not only take down the Lee Sin, you're removing 2, 4, 6 total might off that push, and that's the total might he needs to try to overtake this battlefield. So he's trying to do some math again, pen and paper, bring it out. What can I do? Because we're seeing a Bring Your Thunder song. Once Draven is at 6 points, or I guess not so much since he's going for the whole strategy. Brynjar's a great card regardless to add a good amount of might on that battlefield. So we'll see. This is tricky spot for both of these players. But I see what Lee Sin is getting at. But Draven is doing a really good job of trying to defend this battlefield and not letting him have his way.
Yeah. The Brynjar is really just to develop board.
It does make it just that much harder to take down that battlefield. So you got to really think about how are we sequencing these cards. Oh, excellent pickup off the top. The signature spell for Lee Sin, Dragon Rage. Choose a friendly unit, or the other way around. Choose 2 enemy units and have them effectively clash against each other. It's almost like a challenge, but for 2 enemy units, I believe, if I remember right.
Yeah, that I don't know. It's so hard for me. I have the spell in Legends of Runeterra in mind right now, and I cannot take it off my god damn it. Why did I play this game?
It was a great game though. But yeah, guys, I'll read out for those that are unfamiliar with the signature spell. Move an enemy unit, then actually I can't read it off my screen, but there it is. Move an enemy unit, then do this. Choose another enemy unit at its destination. They deal damage equal to their might. So it is exactly what I said. I just kind of shortcutted it. So they do basically inner combat against each other. So it's like a challenge, but against just 2 opposing units.
You would need another unit in base to activate it.
Yeah, it has to be at the destination, right? So you would have to push back an enemy. So yeah, Dragon Rage ideally would have been kind of nice if there was a unit in the back line at the minimum. But in this situation, this whole strategy seems to paying so much dividends, whether he knows it or not. Because he can't even utilize that signature spell that he just top decked. And someone's saying you could choose the battlefield, but chat, it says move an enemy unit. You can't move to the same battlefield.
You can't, but it might come really clutch later in the game. Let's see right now. They're doing the math. And it needs to go right now because his opponent is tapped out. So he only, per se, has to deal with the hidden card.
This is the moment of truth, Leroy. He has 3 cards in hand. If that's something like a fight or flight to push back the Lee Sin, you're taking it down so much might, so much so that I don't think you will be able to conquer. There's just one too many might. I'm tempted to do the math, but I want to save myself the mental strength to just go ahead and fall asleep after this. But okay, we'll do the math. That's 9 for the Edge of Night one, the 7 bringing it up to 16, the 5 bringing it up to 21, the 6 up to 27, the 4 from the Noxus Hopel up to 31. So 31 defensive might, not considering the hidden card, of course. So let's see what is behind the hood. That's a switcheroo, exactly as you said. And I don't think he was accounting for a switcheroo. That Noxus Hopeful being the last
but
lowest unit.
That's not that big of a might switch, and he still has punch first in the hand. So, oh no, Aurelia already got punch first. Wait, no. No, that's +6 -6. So punch first is a +6.
Wait, Lyra, they're in overtime. It's overtime. We blinked and it was over. What's going on? I think Draven wins by default. Because if you tied this game and you have 1 point over your opponent, I think you win.
Yeah, but it's not. The game is not over. It's done 0 right now.
True. If you're so right, if Leeson manages to win, then it's a tie, which he definitely would prefer over a loss.
Yeah. Trust Leeson.
Okay, let's trust the process. Can Lee Sin get the job done? He did the math. He wasn't taking into account the switcheroo, so doesn't get the full board clear. The Ferris Forerunner seems to be sticking around. And then he's saying...
Wait, no. Okay.
I mean, a lot of units going to the trash on both sides of the board. The Fervent staying around. Fervent had the GA, was it? Or Zhonya's. I see
the
it.
Zhonya.
Okay.
Yeah, Fatty would use punch first, but maybe that was just trade then. And you don't want to send the Pharaohs for free to base. It's so hard.
You know, at the minimum, he did manage to take out quite an impressive board. As we calculated, close to the neighborhood about 31 total might. Brought it all the way down to 6. More importantly, you kept your Fervent for the following push. The most might your opponent can do right now, being the Draven, is you hold up to 6. Unless they gave him the point already. No, I don't think they did. You hold up to 6. Unless Lee Sin hasn't passed, but Draven already untapped. So you hold up to 6. If you had a way of riding the win, which I think is in hand, you would conquer up to 7. But that being said, Lee Sin can't win either. You hold up to 6, conquer up to 7, the same.
Oh, wait. Oh, yeah, so it's either... No, so Draven won anyway.
Yeah. I think he's just realizing the bigger picture, saying, wait a minute, why are we continuing on this? Because I'm a smart guy. I've been here in the finals before. I know exactly where this road is headed. Even if I go ahead and try a little bit harder in this remaining times of overtime, you're going to be taking it out pretty... Or you're going to be taking this most likely has a fight or flight, has a ride the win.
At best, it's draw on this one. And then win if it's 1 win 1 draw. Okay, GG driver 1. I hate Draven. Yep.
I think a lot of people can agree with that sentiment. I mean, he played well. I will give him that. He played it really well. Things that are a little different against the odds main board. He has an Edge of Night, more than one main board, which is a little bit rare sight to see. But he did defy the fight or flight, but he has pretty much the same thing in the form of a ride the win. So that's 6 to 5 But the punch first he didn't go ahead and play out the turn before might come exactly what he needs for this turn. So 6 bringing up to 8. Do we know for a fact he has punch first? Because I personally haven't seen it.
I don't know, but no matter what, it won't change anything. Game's over. They're playing in that for honor, basically.
He does. He does have the punch first. So Guardian Angel established onto the board, most likely attached to the Fervent. So you can conquer the battlefield, but you're only going up to 7. That seems to be the final turn here in overtime for the Lee Sin player. Then you throw it back over to Draven. Oh, the double smack in the face. So move the Darius over to the Forerunner. Take down the Darius. You do some damage. But now the question begs, is that considered combat and it cleaned up occurs? Let me pull up the card one more time.
I really don't think so. There can't be any combat.
Right. Yeah, there is no combat because that's opposing units that would cause a combat. So you keep the -4. So Aurelia could get a nice little... I mean, she probably had enough what it takes to even take down that unit alone. But with the 5 damage... it makes it a whole lot easier. So Aurelia denying the Conqueror. I should say denying the hold. You go up to 7. Double mech into Farah's Forerunner. Buff is going to trade 1 for 1. But the Edge of Night on one of these mechs brings it over the edge. I think that's 7-7. And Draven wins from a tie / having 1 game up.
Yeah. I think you still want a tie because that can change in Top Cut like if you will go through or not. That might change your resistance or something like that. So you're still looking for a tie if you're the Lee Sin player.
Yeah. I do feel
Which
this
is
is
why...
the last turn of today's day 1 tournament, though, because of how the mannerisms for Lee Sin. He's saying, okay, this is all I can do. Let's just go ahead and continue out as we are approaching that 7-minute mark in overtime. Sends the Kaiser, sends the mech. You have a couple. Ooh, the punch first. So those things die. And if this is not the last turn, that is a hold. That's a hold for game and you win. You don't win the series, but you win this game
it's
too.
3 out of 3. So it is. It will be a draw and not a loss. So
it depends how they're saying who's the active turn player, because maybe Lee Sin doesn't get another turn. He just sticks at 7. Ooh. Imagine he changes his play. He saw the punch first already. Oh, wait a minute. I want to do something else. But Dreaming Tree trigger, draw 1. What is that? Oh, I think that was a charm. Quickly scan through. Not making a difference, because if you go to your next turn, you automatically win. That mech and the Edge of Night won't be enough to hold it down, or more so take one of these enemy units down from these battlefields. And I think Lineka saying, uh-oh. I don't think I have what it takes. More importantly, there should be a little icon on the screen or a little bit of a dice on the screen to indicate who's the active player in overtime. All right.
No, but it's written 3 out of 3.
Wait a second.
It's written 3 out of 3 rounds, no? Above the time.
Oh, 3 out of 3. You're so right. So there is an indicator.
Yeah.
This is it, guys. The very last turn. So Lee Sin can't win. Why are they playing it out is my question. Because it's 6-7.
Yeah, because that's what I'm saying. It won't be the same if his result is like 1 loss, 1 draw. If he's got 1 draw with a loss and 1 draw with a and 1 run with a draw, then if he's got 1 run with a loss and the other one with a loss too. So he needs to secure the draw, basically.
Yeah, but it was always a draw because he doesn't pass the turn back to Lee Sin. So Lee Sin can never win, no?
No. But Lee Sin needed to secure the draw and not the loss, because Draven could have get 2 points and won potentially.